Greetings, I'm Mega Man NG, and if you're wondering what this video is, chances are this is a bit special. Why? Because the following I'm about to talk about is mostly rumors. Just take it with a grain of salt like I am. The only thing I hope is that this is not true. If you want the short version, basically there's a rumor that in a couple of months, Sony will be shutting down the PlayStation Store for PS3, PSP, and PS Vita. What does this mean exactly? Basically, more than a decade's worth of games and downloadable content will probably be removed from the PlayStation Network entirely. This also includes games that were released digitally only, such as the PS1 classics. You can probably get what this means. When many of us found out about this, even if it is a rumor, we were upset. Made no better by the fact that Sony CEO Jim Ryan seems to really be against game preservation, backwards compatibility, and the fact that he sees that old games are uninteresting and ancient and archaic. He has no understanding why people like us prefer to preserve the games that we play. I, for one, have many old games. A few examples being the Mega Man Legends games, all 3 games on PS1 physically, and pretty soon I'll have to get them digitally. Not to mention several GameCube games as well, such as Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Wind Waker, Prime 1 and 2, and so on. The reason why many of us like older games is for a variety of reasons. Reason number 1, nostalgia. Yes, nostalgia can be toxic, but for the sake of us gamers, it is to remind us when gaming was simple, fun, and not as a means to swindle its consumers. When people bought games, they were released in a complete state. Sure, some games don't age well as others, but for what it's worth, they remind us of simpler times. Reason number 2, preservation. Sometimes it's hard to find certain games because for whatever reason, either people weren't interested in it then, or maybe copies were end up being out of print. An example of this being Trials of Cold Steel 2 for the PlayStation 4. Yeah, copies of these are now going for insane prices on eBay. And I sadly regret not getting a copy when I did. The same can be said for Yokai Watch Blasters, or rather many 3DS games that didn't have that much of a release. The same can be said for digital titles too, where some games had to be delisted due to either licensing, like Scott Pilgrim, or for pettier reasons like PT. The fact that many of us want to preserve these games is proof why we enjoy them. I already repeated this in the beginning, but you seem to get the idea. Reason number 3, new games aren't that great. I won't lie. Last year and this year have had many games. Some were good, others not so much. And then there are games that for whatever reason weren't that great at all. In fact, they were just bad. A few examples include Anthem in 2019, Cyberpunk 2077, and even Crucible, a game so bad that it died in less than a year. They were overhyped, only for them to be massive letdowns. Games of old, however, no way. When they came out regardless if they were good or not. Because, yeah, it was a different time. And when there were games that were hyped up and were released as intended, they paid off. That's something many of us miss. A lot. Now to the topic at hand. Why this video was made to begin with. Well, this video also serves as a message to the current PlayStation CEO, Jim Ryan. The fact that this individual has no understanding of game preservation, why we enjoy older games, and is more towards trying to make sure that Sony continues to stay at the top. After all, there's an article that states that enough to tell you what kind of person he is. Links in the description. Now we come to the message itself, and I promise to be as civilized and respectable as possible. Besides, I have a PlayStation 5 as it is. I've been a fan of PlayStation since PS1. So yeah, Jim Ryan, if you're watching this, I know you probably wouldn't care, but as someone who supports game preservation, emulation, etc., I implore you, please don't shut down PSN or out of the PlayStation Store for PS3, PSP, and Vita. There are many of us that want to get our hands on games that are more enjoyable than what we have right now. I'm one of them, obviously. Shutting it down would be a massive disservice, and that would mean thousands of games being forever lost to the annals of time. It's stuff like this why many would resort to modding their consoles and handhelds, or to the point, piracy, just so they can experience these games without having any restrictions. It's reason enough why Microsoft and its CEO, Phil Spencer, are handling this so much better by having full backwards compatibility. I'm not kidding. It's also why you guys moved your base of operations to California, and then you went full-on hypocrites, censoring games just to suit your needs and wants and not pissing off people. Your decisions caused many talented people in Sony Japan to depart in search of greater challenges. It's why PlayStation is dying in Japan, and now it's being dominated by the Nintendo Switch and mobile gaming. You may think that the PS5 is going to help you, but here's the brutal facts, and I know some people are going to feel offended by it. Guess what? I gotta be brutal. It won't. Now, I'm no expert, but I do have 2 suggestions that would be really appropriate and satisfactory for everyone. Solution 1, don't shut down the PSN store. Keep it up. At least take the liberty to update it so that way we can use our older consoles to continue buying games without having to deal with lag and anything. After all, this will help, especially for those that can't even afford a PS5. Even now, it's sold out. I'm lucky enough to get one thanks to my brother, who I'm thankful for. Solution number 2, move your entire PlayStation library from PS1 to PS4 all the way to the PS5 via PS Now. Now, I won't lie, the PS Now is a great idea on paper, but I wish its execution could have been better. Have it expand to include every single game as a way to not only celebrate the PlayStation brand, but also its history. I wouldn't mind paying $60 a year just to make sure I get to relive good times, provided they work well enough and are stable. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Even though this is all rumors, the fact that many of us have every reason to be concerned about it is upsetting. Nintendo already did this in 2019, or rather, they've done this by shutting down the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection for the Wii, for the DS, and then they shut down the Wii Shop channel in 2019. And to this day, there's no way to get our hands on the older games unless people mod their Wii consoles. Give or take a couple of years, Nintendo will probably do the same to the Wii U and the 3DS. Don't make the same decisions they would probably do. Do what is right. Be smart. Support game preservation. Don't shut this down. That's all there is. Do what is right and people will respect you more and more. It isn't much, but if you guys have something to say regarding all this, do so in the comments. The only thing I hope is that it's proven untrue and that we can continue enjoying our older consoles and games without fear of it going away. We know one way or another it's going to be inevitable. But when that happens, know that I will have to spend a lot of the money just to make sure I get some of the more classic games and the DLC. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.